was the summer, 1984. Boy, probably one of the hottest summers that we had seen. It was climbing up to about 125 degrees in that summer breeze. It didn't offer any help, any resistance to that downpour that was coming. They were so hot that you can see heat waves rising up from the asphalt. Young kids were out there playing in the sprinklers, or they were even putting crayons on the sidewalk just to see them melt into this rainbow puddle. Has it ever been so hot that you saw a mirage? Those are real, even though they are not real, but the mind will make you see water when the heat plays tricks on you. That's how hot it was. And I was on my way as a local DJ to go do a swim party at a place called the Pavilion. And I was packing up the car. And I had a little small car. And back then, a DJ, we had big equipment. It's not like today where you just got a laptop and these fake little wheels that look like turntables. No, you had actual turntables. Yes, with mixers and speakers and records, crates and crates and crates of records. And you couldn't leave them out there in the car. They would warp. And all these things that were just so heavy. And I had about 2 cubic inches to play with to make everything fit inside this car. And I asked my brother, Jim Ranger. I asked Jim, man, can you help me? Can you help me load up the car so I can go down there and DJ over here at the Pavilion, the big swim party? Because it was hot. And I was sweating and the grit had gotten into my eyes. And I asked my brother, man, won't you help me out? He was like, hell no, I'm not helping you. As a matter of fact, me and the homies, we're going to be over there to the swim party a little later. We're going to need you to get us in for free. I'm like, how you going to ask me to get you in for free? And then turn around and not help me at all. I'm like, man, that don't make no sense. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not helping you get into no swim party if you are not going to help me. So I told him something that really I shouldn't have said. Because by the time that I got to that swim party and I put the needle on the first record after I got everything hooked up, the song was Von Mason and the Crew. More bounce to the ounce. Somebody came up and said, man, you need to go check on your brother. I'm like, why? Probably need to go check on him didn't want to help me. He's like, man, he in the hospital and I don't think he's doing good. I'm like, what do you mean he's in the hospital? I just left him. He's like, he's in the hospital and he's been shot. Oh my goodness, my heart sank. Come on, cousins, and let's pod about it.
In a world fraught with confusion, one man will break his silence. There was only one man for the job.
1984. Yes. I was about 1 year removed from high school, and I'm going to tell you, I wasn't doing nothing with my life. I was just out there just happy to be done with school. Well, I should have went to the military, should have went to college. I should have done a lot of things, but what I was a DJ. I was out there spitting lyrics, writing poetry, hanging out, and just tripping the life fantastic. And living a life like a young man who had no direction, no guidance would live. And hey, you're welcome right now to the funkiest show this side of the Pecos. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the Word to the Wise podcast with the exclamation point. My name, who? I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody that can save anybody. And if you know who I'm talking about, let me get an amen over there in the comment section. And I like to give up an amen and a hallelujah and a thank you to the people who brought me into this world. Yeah, got to give it up for Pops and Fat Mama. Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done, and I felt so sorry for you on that day, that hot summer day in 1984 when you lost your son. I don't think it's natural for parents to have to bury their kids. When a parent has to bury their child, there's a certain kind of pain that goes through, and I hope I never know what that feels like. But I do know what it felt like when I first got that news. And just to let you know what happened, I was running the streets around with a Toyota Celica. That's the kind of car I had. It was rust gray primer. It was supposed to be green, but it was mostly just a bucket is what we called it. You know, it had a hole in the floor on the floorboard to where you could see the street going by up under your feet. Yeah, it was barely running, but I loved that car, and it got me a lot of places, mostly all around the neighborhood and all around town. And my brother Jamie, he was my protector. He was also my tormentor. My brother Jamie, man, we went round and round. He was the middle brother. I have an older brother. Jamie was the middle brother, and I was the youngest, as well as my younger sister. And me and my brother, we were just at odds a lot. But so much that, we still respected each other. I knew when the chips were down, I can count on him. He was like an urban legend, if you want to. He was a type of person that was fearless. But his life, at the 22 years that he spent on this earth, man, he had been through some things in 22 short years. You see, my brother had got arrested when he was young, and he was a high school senior and got arrested and sent off to fire camp. That's what they called it. First, they sent him to a couple places, and then he wind up being inside this fire camp. And this fire camp, it made them go around and fight fires for free as a part of their punishment for their crime. And he wind up doing a couple years over there on a burglary charge. Now, my father had offered him a lawyer. My father said, I'll get you a lawyer. I'll get you out of this. And we'll see what we can do, get you out of it, or at least get you a reduced sentence. And my brother told my father, no, don't do that. Don't spend your money, because I'm guilty. I did what they said I did, and I'm going to do my time. But he was power forward for the high school basketball team. And they came and they got him and they sent him away right when they was about to make a push to get into the playoffs. Locked Jamie up. And he went over there and he excelled. He loved it. He loved being in the fire camp. And that's why they called him Jim Ranger, because he felt like it was a calling. He should have been a forest ranger. He should have been a firefighter. He should have been many things, but what he was a neighborhood hardhead who ran with a group of knuckleheads. Yes, he was their leader, as a matter of fact, man. And yes, that crime that they committed, he got locked up for it, and he did his time. Couple things about him: he was rough and tumble, and he would fight anybody. And yes, he did carry guns. He had a shotgun inside of his trunk, and I don't know if he carried a pistol on him or not, but I knew that he had weapons. But he was good with these. He would swing them from the shoulder. He was very good at protecting himself and me as well, because I was out there. But I was younger than him, so I was out there doing different stuff at different times. And a lot of times he didn't want me to hang out. So he was trying to tell me right. But there was other times where he just needed me, just like I needed him. Because my brother Jamie was horrible at driving. I tried to teach him how to drive. Man, he almost tore my little Celica up. He was stripping the gears. He just could not get the hang of a stick shift. And if that's you, you don't know how to drive a manual, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Jamie couldn't drive. And he also couldn't swim. We used to love getting in the pool, and I could swim like a champ. My brother Jackie had good stroke, but Jamie just couldn't. It seems like him going away for that time has stunted his growth in a lot of ways. He couldn't dance either. He was horrible. He couldn't swim, couldn't dance, couldn't drive a car, but he was a man-child. He was still a child on the inside, but he was all man because of his physical stature. He's about 6'3", 6'4", 250. No body fat on him. And yes, he had a mean streak about him. But boy, when he loved hard. And he loved a woman. That woman, she had children by other men. And he didn't care. When he got out, he started dating her, and he became a father figure for the children. He was not their dad, but he became what we call as a father figure. Now, there was one gentleman, and that's not used that term loosely. When I call him a gentleman, he was the coward of Bonaire. Yes, one of the children belonged to him. And what he did was he came around trying to confront my brother when he was with his crew. He was with his crew, and him and his crew, they didn't take no guff from somebody who was a punk. So they ran him off the block. But he later found out what was really going on was the woman he was dating told her baby father, the coward of Bonaire, that, hey, Jamie is whooping your kids. She said it to make him jealous. She said it to try to make him retaliate against my brother. And it wasn't true. A lie spawned everything, a series of events. And it's kind of like Lemony Snicket's. It was a series of unfortunate events. First, he got ran off the block. Then he got jumped on by one of my brother's friends, one of his good friends. Yeah, he didn't like him because, you ain't down with my homie, so I'm not down with you. That's just the ghetto code, just the credo, just the machoism that happens on the street. Yeah, you and everybody down with you. That's how it was. But then one day, my brother was out there on the corner, and he had a car, a Monte Carlo. And boy, he was horrible at driving that car. In fact, he would let other people drive him around in his car. In fact, he had ruined and wrecked my brother Jackie's car. Yeah, Jamie ran into about 4 or 5 cars, sideswiped him. He said a can of beer had rolled up. He had it up under the seat, and the beer rolled up under the brake. So he was trying to hit the brake. It was pushing up against a beer can, a full can of beer, and he couldn't stop the car, and he didn't have the wherewithal to just get off the gas. Wrecked them cars and disappeared and ran to another town, and boy, my father paid. He paid out the yin-yang to fix that problem. So this is his driving experience. He also held it against me because one time we took a cross-country trip. It was just me, my dad, my brother Jamie, and my little sister, and we were going from California to Mississippi, and my father asked me to help him drive so he can be able to get some sleep. And I was 16, and I drove across states, with a permit. And my brother couldn't drive at all. he kind of held that against me. Yes, he did. He said it should have been me. I'm like, well, you should have learned. You didn't listen. Dad tried to teach us all how to drive. You hard-headed. And that's one other thing that we would just go round and round about as brothers. But my brother Jamie that day, oh man, he was standing out there on the corner block, killing. And the coward of Barnett walked up. Now, from what I heard about the story, is they told him, so to speak, don't you know you're not allowed to hang out on the block no more? You can't hang out no more. You can't come around these parts anymore. And my brother and his crew was ready to run him off again. He pulled out a pistol, 22. That's a very, very small but dangerous weapon. The bullets are tiny. So when they go in inside the body, when they penetrate a human being, they just don't have a clear-cut exit wound. They bounce around, tearing through ligaments and organs off a single shot. A very, very dangerous little weapon because they don't have an exit wound right by the entry. No, it bounces around. Shot my brother in the back. Back was turned. It wasn't even him that was telling him that you can't hang out anymore. So he pulled that trigger because of a lie that was told to him. He believed it. He believed that my brother was spanking his kids. Well, you wasn't around. You wasn't a dad. If I'm going to be there and I'm going to be the head of the household and I'm going to be the man of the house, then guess what? I'm going to have some rules, especially if I'm paying the bills around here. I'm not going to go out of my way to abuse your child, but they will listen. He didn't want to hear none of that, and he was an active father. Yeah, all he did was plant a seed and kept going. But that woman had lied and filled his head with a bunch of foolishness, evil. Pulled the trigger again, shot my brother the second time. He hadn't even had a chance to turn around. And when he did, he tried to go to the trunk to take keys out of his pocket with 2 bullet wounds in his back and try to open up that trunk to get that 410. Yes, and be able to defend himself and have some self-defense. But he shot him a third time while he was standing there trying to get the keys out of his pocket. Didn't even say anything, no word, no warning. That is cold-blooded, calculated murder. He came up to the corner block with that gun in his pocket with the sole intent of killing Jamie, Jim Ranger. My brother took off, tried to run. Now, from what I hear, he had jumped over a brick wall, cinder block. And the person, the coward, took another shot and it ricocheted. And my brother laid on the ground on the other side of that wall, unable to continue his trek. He was unable to continue running because his life was oozing out. And that coward walked over there to that cinder block wall and put his arm over the wall and emptied the clip and turned his head right into his back. All bullets inside the back. Nothing facing me. He never looked my brother in the eye, not once. Yes. Took 10 minutes for the ambulance to arrive. 10 minutes. The hospital was only 5 minutes away. 10 minutes it took for them to come. Now here's the clincher. One of the witnesses, because it was over 50 people who saw it. Eyewitnesses, first-hand account. They saw it. They saw Jamie get gunned down. And they know who did it because we all grew up together. We used to play together. I went to school with the coward's brother. Yes, we were the same age. I'm not going to mention his name because he's dead too. And he died the same way that he killed my brother. Lived by the sword. All of us went and got the gunfire bearers. We all went and got suits and rented them because none of us owned suits. You know, keep in mind, my brother was 22. His friends were right there in their 20s, and most of them had gotten out of prison by the time they were 22. You know, had already did some stretch of time. And here I am, 19, out of high school, just working for a rental-car agency. You know, told them what had happened. They gave me a rent-a-car and said, our condolences. And everybody saying, we're going to give you thoughts and prayers. And people start mimicking. They start saying the same thing. I don't know if everybody understood that, but everybody was saying the same thing. He's in a better place now. Yes, he's gone on. And you know what? Our condolences, our thoughts and our prayers are with you. Because he's in a better place now. You have our thoughts and prayers. If there's anything you need, let me know. Let me know if you need anything at all, because you have our thoughts and prayers and our condolences, because he's in a better place now. It was just over and over, the same barrage of canned assembly line anecdotes. Nobody really meant them. You think if I would have asked somebody, you know what, this is what I really need, would they have done anything or lifted a finger? I don't think so. The aftermath of that entire situation was retaliation. The streets was watching. The streets was watching me. Yeah, because I ran the streets with my brother. Most of the time, he told me, get off the block. You don't hang out tonight. It's going to get dangerous out here. And the streets were watching. Yes, I never forget that night where I was put in the van, Molotov cocktail, and handed a disposable lighter. They wanted me to burn his mother, the mother of the coward. I'm like, but his mama didn't do nothing. You know, his mother didn't do anything. He was like, hey, streets is watching. Streets is watching you, and you better do something about it. And I sat there with that bottle and a rag hanging out, because the grass got to be watered, and it's usually done in the cool of the night. And I sat there watching, hiding in the bushes like an ambushing coward myself, waiting for her to come out, because it was so hot that people usually get out and water their grass after sundown. You don't get out there during the sun. You burn up your grass and you sweat. And so I was waiting for his mama. And I'm going to tell you right now, her pink hair rollers reminded me of my own mother. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because the plan that they had for me at 19 was not going to the military, not getting a good job, not being a superstar, not going off to college and getting an education. Their plan for me was to burn his mother, go to prison, hopefully get inside the same prison as the coward and kill him behind bars and get myself 20 years to life and wind up at 19 done. And for that, the streets would have been buried my brother. We buried him, and the funeral, the whole process, it still sits horribly with me, because he only got 2 years for killing my brother. 2 years. They called it manslaughter. They had labeled my brother as a menace to society. That's what they called him. Now, cold-blooded, shot him in the back with every bullet, never looked him in the eye or told him why. But yeah, they gave him 2 years. And in fact, let him go on his own recognizance, or OR, for murder. He was out on the streets. But then, I'm wondering about what kind of justice is this? And And the ghetto code of silence was in full effect. The streets don't talk. Police came around, detectives came around, asking questions and everything. Newspaper came around, and boy, they did my brother dirty in the papers. Oh, they put some bad ink on him. And yes, they asked everybody. Nobody said, I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. Why you asking me for? 50 people. 0 witnesses for my brother. Even the homies, even his homies, they didn't have a mumbling word to say. So the judicial system betrayed him. His friends betrayed him. His woman betrayed him. I mean, it's almost like his youth, his environment, his culture betrayed him. He was betrayed and put in the ground at 22 years old. And here I stand, gray hair in my beard. And I think back on his life. Jim Ranger. What could he have been, man, if he would have just gotten involved with the fire department and not the neighborhood block? What could he have been if he would have went and been a park ranger and lived a good old life? My children, they have never met their Uncle Jamie. He was gone way before they were born. But that is his story. And his story, somebody got to tell his story. He was a good man. He just happened to be good with these. Yeah, he swings them. And, he had protected a lot of people. The story of him just walking up to a car when it was a guy in there, some guy from out of town had 2 people at gunpoint sitting in a car about to rob them. And my brother walked up to the car and he said, "Hey, walk away." And he had the gun pointing at him. He said, "Is that a gun?" He was like, "Yes, it's a gun." And he said, "I don't think so," and snatched the gun out of the gunman's hands. He didn't believe it was real. But that type of courage, that type of thing. He could do a lot of things. He was a man-child, but he couldn't swim. He couldn't dance. And boy, he was definitely horrible at driving a car. Hey, I wish everybody who can hear the sound of my voice and hear this story, I want you to love your loved ones. Embrace their shortcomings as well. Okay? Also, know that here on Word to the Wise, man, we doing it. I'm going to give it to you how you should get it, and I'm going to give it to you raw and uncut. That's where we are, and that's what we do right here. Yeah, because why? These streets and this life and this whole world that we live in, it's a jungle out there. But just keep swinging like Tarzan. And if you feel like you alone, don't you do that. Don't you do that. Because I got your back like vertebrae. I am right there with you, all right? I want you all to tune in on every single Wednesday. Love, peace, and hot catfish grease.
I hope you like the podcast and you really like the podcast.
Come on, be serious.
And you really like my podcast. Like and subscribe.